Yes, sir, it is.
Good evening. My name is Vince Noblet, President of the Town Council. I'm going to call this meeting to order at 7:01. 7:01. First off is roll call. Start off, Gary Pettigo,
Good evening.
Eileen Fisher,
Hello.
David Lindsay,
Good evening for the last time from 1450 North Lyndhurst.
and Vice President of the Council, Gary Rakes.
Good evening.
Also in attendance is our Town Clerk Treasurer, Jacob Blatesdale.
Good evening.
And our town attorney, Bob Clutter.
Howdy do.
And in the audience, our executive director, Tim Gropp. Thanks for attending. Please, everybody, stand and pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Next on the agenda is approval of minutes. These minutes were approved or have been presented to the council. And if there's no changes or adjustments, I'll approve them as submitted. Hearing none, they're approved. Next on the agenda is special events for April the 4th for the Speedway Lions Club.
Do we miss an item?
Yep. That was number 3.
Oh, number 3. Yeah, absolutely. Back it up. We've got
I got you.
we got 2 Parker Adams from the Speedway Fire Department in attendance. Also in attendance, Chief
Hey guys,
Garrett.
I just want to take a quick second, make this short. I just want to thank every one of you guys for honoring our 2021 contract. Obviously, the 3% raise for 2021 has been huge for morale for the guys. I know 2020 has been tough. 2021 is off to a bad start, but we just want to make sure that you guys know we appreciate it. And that's really about it for me. If you guys have any questions, let me know.
No, I want to thank you for all the work you and the fire department does for the town of Speedway.
Sure.
I mean, you guys are the backbone of anything that happens. You're always out on the scene.
Yep.
And I'm sure the town appreciates. And also, I want to mention the fact is that, given our financial situation, was improved, and we definitely wanted to make sure that we fulfilled the contract.
Sure.
And that was our main thinking behind it. And I don't know if anybody else has anything to say. Mr. Parker?
We appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
I guess I'd just
Yeah.
add, I know last year David and Vince met with you in 2020, early on during the beginning of COVID, and just shared with you and actually our police department as well, just some of the challenges that we foresaw.
Sure.
I think Jacob was involved in that as clerk treasurer, and you were very patient.
Yep.
And we worked together to kind of get through the process. And those who weren't maybe watching our last meeting, we found that tax revenues at the very end of the year, literally December 31st, came in better than we had hoped. Still not quite what we had budgeted,
Sure.
but came in fairly strong. On top of that, our departments had exercised good decision-making when it came to spending, and that included the fire department as well. So we thank all of our town staff for that. But it's been nice to work with you all and be able to make this the contract come true.
Absolutely. If I didn't thank you, Jacob, for all the work that you've done. Obviously, you're the numbers cruncher, so if it wasn't for you, we couldn't do it as well. So, again, thanks, guys. We really do appreciate it.
All right.
Thanks.
And I appreciate the open conversation and
Absolutely.
sitting down and you guys willing to look into the numbers with
Yeah,
me,
right.
and us kind of look side by side and work together to serve this community. So I
Yep, I
appreciate
think
all
the
your time.
communication between all of us is key for anything, really. So
Right.
for us, it's special. So thanks.
I like to say I appreciate the fact you took the time to come before us
Yeah.
to say what
Hey,
you're saying. That really means a lot.
Absolutely. absolutely. I mean, if it
Appreciate
wasn't
that.
for you guys, we wouldn't have 3%, and we'd still be kicking rocks down the street, so we're happy now. We're very happy. So we really, really appreciate it, so.
That bad.
No, I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. Okay, next on the agenda, item 4, request for a special event on April the 4th for the Speedway Lions Club. Gary, you want to talk about that? No?
Which one is this? I beg your pardon?
Well, basically, it's
Oh, yeah.
the same as what
Pardon
we
me, I
did
was-
last year.
just kind of lost my memory there for a second. So apparently our Lions Club has a very close connection with the Easter Bunny because on April 4th, the Easter Bunny is going to be going through town as the Easter Bunny was last year on the back of a convertible, if weather cooperates. And that will happen in the afternoon so that families can still get to church and maybe have their Sunday lunch and some of those things. But the idea would be that the Easter Bunny is going to visit most of the streets around town and visit with kids and whatnot. So I think that's the explanation I needed to give.
Mr. President, I make a motion, we approve the special event request for the Speedway Lions Club on April the 4th.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, motion carries. Welcome to the Easter Bunny. Okay, next is Resolution 2021-02, a resolution of the Town of Speedway, approving a resolution of the Town of Speedway Redevelopment Commission, making amendments to the declaration directory resolution for the consolidated redevelopment area and matters related here too. And Tim, that's yours.
Yes, we pay our attorneys per the word of the title.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, you do.
That's a very long way to say that this is in relation to the 1300 block project on Main Street. This is more of a technicality than not. So the SRC has engaged in doing a restatement of our TIF. What that basically means is over the years, you do amendments and whatnot, and we've gotten to a point where we've done quite a few amendments, and it gets a little confusing looking back into everything. So you basically periodically will restate. We should really do it, I think it's actually required every 5 years or so, to restate it, kind of consolidate all your amendments back into one document. And then also, the important part of that is updating your projects list, so, as well as your acquisition list. So that's the main thing. We have started that process. You have completed projects, you take those off. You've changed direction, you've added projects, you update that. So we're in that process. However, we're not quite as far along as the 1300 block project. So we're having to kind of go through the amendment process, if you will, to add the 1300 block project in so we can keep on schedule with that project. So this is the second step in the amendment process for our TIF districts, our allocation area, and this is to include the 1300 block project as a allowed project in our TIF area. If approved tonight, it'll go back to the, we'll have public notice, and we'll have another resolution at the next SRC meeting to adopt.
Okay.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion that we approve resolution number 2021-02 as written.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. I call for a vote. All those in favor of resolution 2021-02 signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next on the agenda is Ordinance 1339, an ordinance authorizing the issuance of the Town of Speedway, Indiana Taxable Economic Development Revenue Bond, Series 2021, 1300 block project, and the lending of the proceeds therefore to the borrower therefore, and authorizing and approving actions in respect to therefore first reading.
Mr. President, I think because we have to have public comment on this, we need to call a hearing.
Okay.
I don't know if I need to make a motion before that.
No, this isn't necessarily a public hearing. The public hearing will occur at the EDC, but this is only on first reading for this ordinance.
Okay?
I think
Mr.
that was
President,
added
I'll
in
go ahead
error.
and make a motion to hear in ordinance 1339 on first reading.
I'll second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. All those,
Tim.
do one.
Put it 10.
Tim?
Now we can
Just
have discussion. Yes.
as stated, this is the introduction of the bond ordinance per the EDA that was already approved. Just the next step in the process. This is first reading. Our intent is to have an Economic Development Commission meeting prior to your April 12th meeting. That will have a published public hearing for it. And then from there, we'll come back to the council for second reading and adoption.
Any questions, Tim? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of ordinance 1339 as stated, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries 5-0.
And then we'll have second reading of the ordinance at your next meeting.
Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda is consideration of a contract for cleaning services for the 5300 block building. Is our new municipal building, Crawfordsville Road. Tim,
Yeah.
can you,
So we've obviously consolidated now into the new facility at 5300. It became evident really clear we needed to get our cleaning contract in place. There's obviously a lot more restrooms and a lot more space to clean, even though we're not open. So we did go out for three quotes. And the one that we're presenting to you tonight is, I think it's pronounced Shanison, which was the low bid. We had one that did not submit a bid. The building was too much for them. And so this is the low bid of the three. And we're anxious to have them started and moving forward. We did add in a 45-day termination clause if we need to change direction down the road. And the contract is good for a year at this price, and then will be revisited each year.
Mr. President, I move that we approve the contract for the cleaning services for 1500 Crawfordsville Road as presented.
I second.
I got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the contract? Tim, what's the time period on that contract?
1 year,
1 year?
yeah.
Okay. And when's it will come up every year at this time?
Yeah, I mean, it's recurring. I should say the pricing is good for a year. We can terminate it any time.
Okay.
So this will go through the end of this year?
This will go through, yeah, it'll go into next year, actually.
Okay.
So the effective date is when we sign the contract tonight.
Any other questions for Tim? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of the cleaning contract, contract services for Shanison,
That's, I believe that's correct.
signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next on the agenda is consideration of the contract for management of IT services for Panos Speedway. Tim, this is you. Since you're the only one here, you're going to get it all.
Yeah, so again, on kind of moving the town forward with some of our services and contracts, we obviously have consolidated a lot of our IT from the various remote locations we've been operating from. We have never had an official IT maintenance contract. We've had a services contract with DCC, and they've served us for many years. We felt with the new system and consolidating, there's a lot of projects that have come up. It was time to get an official IT contract in place. We had quotes from 3 firms, DCC, BD Managed Solutions, and Sondi Solutions. have presented us with quotes. You have all three of those in your packet for consideration this evening. This quote entails the monthly management, on-call services of our IT functions, as well as evaluating projects that we might want to consider moving forward. Again, with having a brand-new system, we want to make sure we maintain it and we keep it running smooth and safe and secure for the years to come.
Mr. President, I'm going to make a motion that we approve the Sonde Solutions for the IT managed services agreement that has been presented here, subject to the final terms of the exact final terms of the pricing based on what we're seeing in this quotation.
A second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. I'll open it up for discussion. Is there any discussion?
On Sondes, I don't show, Bob, this is probably a question for you. I don't see, where this is like a yearly agreement. It says until it's terminated.
Yeah, there's, I do not see in here, just, I was glancing at it just as you were asking that, Mr. Lindsay. I do not see a specific term of the agreement. Am I missing it?
Can we amend the motion to include?
It's kind of what I was.
An annual, as a one-year agreement?
Yes.
Yes, I think that'd be appropriate.
Well, then,
Well, so I'll amend that. I was actually thinking we might try and make the agreement through year end, renewable at the beginning of the year. So that is my motion, my amended motion.
And I'll second that amended motion.
Okay, I got an amendment and a second.
Got it.
I'd just like to make one comment. This has been, I think this is something that's long overdue for the town. Sonde Solutions, as well as the others, but I think Sonde Solutions has stepped up. We've approved them to make the move for us. And I've had several people that here in town have dealt with them, and also people outside of town that have worked with them that spoke very highly of them, and I'm really looking forward to see the work and hopefully to keep things running very efficiently for not only police and others, but for Jacob's office as well. I think this is a very important first step in the move we're making up there.
And I'd like to add to that I just went through the municipal center. Tim was gracious enough to take me on another tour, first one I'd been through in a while, and this was just last Thursday. I was very impressed with all the IT equipment and the way it was set up and the wiring. I mean, everything was just clean and nice and tight and efficient, and man, it's just what we needed.
That's great. We need to take pictures. Make sure it stays that way.
Right.
It's
right.
amazing how, I don't know, from companies that I've been with, it's amazing how things, start to deteriorate. And it's important, as critical as IT is to the town of Speedway, that we monitor that and make sure that we maintain it going forward. And this is for sure one way of doing it.
One
Yeah.
question for Tim, just so the public's aware. This is also the employees that watch, if they watch. This also includes an on-call for if we have issues outside of the normal business hours, correct?
Yes, this is 24/7 on-call service for IT services. There's a dedicated phone line, as well as they'll be on site periodically each week, and then they're able to also monitor our system to make sure. So if anything happens, they're monitoring it from their home office. They'll be able to react quickly and propose a solution or fix it from
In all
offsite.
likelihood, they would know before we would.
They absolutely would.
Thank you.
Definitely. If there's no other questions, call for a vote. All those in favor of Sonde Solutions supplying the IT management services for the town of Speedway, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next on is item number 9, consideration of encroachment license agreement to locate the structures in the right-of-way of Dawson's on Main. Tim?
Yeah. So Chris Hill approached us, the owner of Dawson's on Main, desiring to improve his facade by adding a more permanent outdoor seating structure, four-season room, if you will, on the front Main Street side of his facility. In addition, he'd have roll-up doors. He'd take out some of his bar windows and have roll-up doors. This would give them the ability to see, like I said, year-round. They could take sides off and on, depending on the weather. Obviously, this is a lot different because this is a permanent structure. This is different than our typical encroachment license because he's asking to basically take over a portion of the right-of-way. We have created this encroachment license that would outline the terms of this agreement. Essentially, it allows him, and I apologize, my intent was to put the structure up for viewing on the screen and did not get to that today. And Chris apologizes for not being here. He is traveling back from Florida today. However, the timeline for him needing to order and keep moving this through the process, this is kind of the first step. If he doesn't have the encroachment license with the town, he's not able to because this entire structure is in public right-of-way. So this allows him to put the structure permanently on an annual that runs with Dawson's on Main. If Dawson's was to leave or switch hands, they'd have to redo this encroachment license. It allows them to put the structure on there under certain terms. There is a fee to this to the town. So there will be an annual fee for him, which is different than our normal encroachment license, which does not have one. And it also requires him to maintain access. So we must maintain 10 feet of sidewalks still in this area. One of the concerns when we built the wide sidewalks for events was that we had plenty of room to move through. And so we're requiring a continuation of 10 feet, which would require the replacement of the bricks in that area to make sure we have 10 feet. So we're working with him on that. And as we improve 1426, there might be an opportunity for us to work together. There's also a tree that needs to be moved and replaced on Main Street as well. So those conditions are in here. This replaces his awning on the east side and must be kept up. All our typical encroachment responsibilities still apply. We must have insurance. He must keep the everything looking nice and in good order, and the town can come in and have it removed if it falls out of compliance. So I'm happy to answer any questions beyond that.
I've got one, awnings on Main Street and some awnings in general, especially with exposed to the weather, 365 days of the year. You're gonna get a rip, a tear, you're gonna get some sun fading of those. I mean, is that a case in which we can bring that to his attention, and what is our recourse on that?
Yeah, so if it ever gets into a disrepair or there's a tear or it's broken, this, as well as our normal encroachment license, allows the town to go through code enforcement and have them replace it or fix it at their cost. So that we can do that with anybody, if the, if chairs don't look good or the fencing's not right. That's why you sign the encroachment ordinance. You're asking to use the public right-of-way. In turn, you're required to follow a set of rules set by the town council.
I should say Tim's always been very proactive about ensuring that any encroachment license or permit that's issued has that language in it so that we make sure that anything that's out in the right-of-way or in front of any structure is maintained in good repair.
Tim, we had some conversation before the meeting, actually last week, I think. I'm not asking you to name properties, we don't want to get into that, but there are other properties up and down Main Street, for example, that some have more room than others in terms of out to the side, out to the curb. This one fits, there's others that don't. So we want to kind of get that on the record, that these kind of things pop up and they're really cool. You can go a lot of places and see these awnings with garage doors and other things that they do. It makes it very customer-friendly and fun to be a part of that. At the same time, our sidewalks aren't always the same width all the way up and down Main Street. Some of that was by design, some of that was based on where the buildings are. You want to comment?
Yeah,
on
and
that?
I think you're exactly right, because I think there'll be some other businesses that would really like to do this. It's really situational, based on the property that is requesting it. So, for instance, one thing that this awning does not do is interfere with their front door access at all. So you can't, this couldn't be here if it closed off the front door for fire exit reasons. So, he has a longer stretch along Main Street, which allows this to happen, but we have to move, we have to make sure the bricks are gone, so we maintain the 10 feet. You have to move a tree in this instance, but there are other obstacles up and down Main Street that might not make this feasible to do a permanent structure like this. We'll still work with those businesses to do temporary easements, improvements for the season if possible, but we still have to follow ADA rules. We still have to fire all the fire marshal rules. We can't break any laws here. So we're going to always require that 7-foot distance for ADA, and we're going to make sure that it has to pass fire inspection, whether it's sprinklers or access or anything like that. So good point, Gary. This is a unique circumstance where this works very well, but that won't always be the case. And back to Vince's question, number 8 of the license also says, the owner understands and agrees that the town at its sole discretion may require the owner to remove or relocate the project in the future if it becomes deteriorated. So we have that discretion
Good.
from a town level.
Yeah,
Do we have a motion?
yeah. We do.
I move that we approve the encroachment license agreement as presented by our redevelopment director.
You got a motion and a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Is there any other questions of Tim? Hearing none, I call for a vote. All those in favor of consideration of the encroachment license for right-of-way for Dawson's on Main, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, motion carries 5-0.
Hey, Tim, real quick, what's the date, what's the time frame for this?
It's a little longer than anticipated, and some of it is the timing of the ADA issue. So they are, Chris is on the BZA meeting, which is the first Wednesday of April, and also has a special hearing examiner meeting coming up next week. From there, he's waiting on his ILP from Indianapolis. The bigger issue is going to come up with the bricks, so if we try to line that up with our project at 1426, it might be a little later in the summer than anticipated. Also, as I mentioned, this is kind of the first step. He didn't want to start spending money until he had this approval. So like the garage doors that he's going to be installing on his facade are about a 30 to 60 day wait period right now. So he's going to get those ordered and get that process rolling. But he also has to have that BZA approval, and he also has to have the ILP from Indianapolis. So my assumption is this will be summertime sometime. Hopefully June, I believe he's looking for, but it could be July when everything lines up. Because again, we can't give up 12 feet of our sidewalk if we don't have the remaining available.
Thank you.
We'll keep pushing though.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda, approval of claims and utility adjustments. Jacob?
Tim, you want to take this too, or?
Yeah.
I mean, you're on a roll.
Yeah, he's
okay.
standing.
Claims presented to you for your review represent those from March 6th through March 19th, and I appreciate your approval or any questions you might have.
Mr. President, I make a motion, we approve the claims as presented by our clerk treasurer this evening.
Got a motion, is there a second?
A second.
Got a motion and a second for approval of claims as submitted. Is there any discussion on those claims? Hearing none, I'm going to call for a vote. All those in favor of approving the claims as submitted by the town clerk treasurer, signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next is utility adjustments.
Yes, Mr. President, we do have a few leak adjustments for the same period. covering, March 6th through March 19th, and would appreciate your approval on those as well.
Mr. President, I move that we approve the adjustments as presented to us by Clerk Treasurer.
A motion and a second?
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the adjustments? Hearing none, I'm going to call for the vote. All those in favor of approving the adjustments as submitted by Town Clerk Treasurer, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next is report from the counselors. Eileen, we'll start off with you.
I have nothing this evening. Thank you.
David?
Just one reminder, tomorrow evening, the police department's holding a Zoom Crime Watch meeting. That will be, the information is on their, I believe on Twitter and on their Facebook, or if you need it, just call. That's at 6 PM, and that's going to include the owners of the Speedway Shopping Center, Brixmore. So encourage everyone to join that. I will not be able to join. It's tax day for me and my family, so I would much rather attend, but yes. So just a reminder of that, and I think I'd be kind of remiss if we don't mention this is our last meeting in this building. I think we have a great building to move to. Appreciate all the work that's gone in to do that. As many know, I used to work for the town through the police department. I'm not going to say how many years ago, and it was mentioned then that we need a new building, and it's finally come to where we're able to do that, and not only the police department, but as well as the clerk treasurer's office as well as Tim and his staff. So looking forward to it. This building has served us well. It's time to move on. So that's all I have.
Thank you, David. Counselor Gary Pedigo.
Short and sweet, just a reminder to those of you still contemplating whether or not to get the COVID vaccine, I would urge or encourage you to do so. I had my second and final dose last Monday. I only experienced a little bit of a sore arm for a day or so, and I think I'm good to go. So I would encourage everybody to, if you've decided you don't want to get it, I would encourage you to reconsider. That's it.
Thank you, Gary. Vice President of the Council, Gary Riggs.
Just echo the thoughts that everybody else had, and the new Speedway Municipal Center, SMC, is not quite ready for tours yet, public tours, but I think we'll have our next meeting there, as David described, and hoist the flag for the first time at that new building, and then sometime in a month after or so, look towards having a public celebration on that. But like everybody else, I'm super excited to get there and kind of all be in one building. We've already seen some benefits to that. Someone can walk down the hall, talk to the police chief at the same time they walk down the hall, and talk to the clerk treasurer, and Tim can be found in the same building. There's already been some benefits from that, so excited for that. And just finally, just like to wish everyone happy Easter, and to be safe if you're traveling. I know spring break starts for a lot of folks in schools next week, so.
Absolutely. Thank you, Gary. I just want to say that, I got some memories of this building, and some of them are from old photographs, and I cannot believe that there was a series of ashtrays that would be lying. I can't imagine in a small room like this having everybody smoking, and I think that would be worse than COVID. And you would have to wear a mask from that standpoint, but I'm so happy that, through the vision counselors before me, that, you guys got the new building basically launched and taking that first step out. I mean, when you're talking about a building that size, there's a lot of risk involved, and undertaking that important corner like that, I think it shows, it basically manifests what we're doing as a town, and that we're looking down the line in the future, and the redevelopment that we did so far on Main Street, and what we're working with Tim out Founders Square and the rest of Maine is still planning for the future. We've got great schools in our community. We're building a great infrastructure that will last a long time, and that is part of it. And I want to thank everybody and wish everybody a happy Easter, too, at this point. If there's no other questions or thoughts, I'm going to adjourn the meeting at 7:35.